like, dude, how do you live here?
Yeah.
Like,
So quiet. It's
so quiet.
dead.
Like, your neighbor is
far.
2 Ks away from you.
Literally.
Like, how do you do it? And I was like, from the outside, it looks like I'm bored, but
Yeah, I'm not.
Genuinely, dude, I'm at peace. I understood this is the life that I want to live.
I chose.
And I chose it willingly.
Yes.
And it's a peaceful life. Like, it's not boring. You might think it's boring because you're used to Cubanas right
The
here
lights.
and
Bright
rooftop.
city.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that is very important for us to mention, because there's a lot of people that go through that same thing, that wa bora go plasing, but
How
if,
bored plasing.
if it's not for you, then wa bora. But if it's for you, then how bored?
And you can create your own fun. Like,
Yeah.
why not? And I was actually even telling the guys on the farm that I want to get a soccer ball. I want to, you can actually bring recreational activities to the farm.
Yeah.
Besides, you've got the space.
Yeah.
So
You have tons.
You have tons of space,
Yeah.
and you've got time from time to time, because people also always ask me, like, are you always waking up at 5? Are you always sleeping at 8? And like, we don't have 9 to 5. We stop when the work stops.
Yeah.
When the
And we
target is
start
done,
when the work needs
work
to be
needs
done.
to be done. So if you have to work through the night, then you have to do what you have to do. But then there's going to be some days when there's downtime.
Yeah.
Now it's time to pray, because we've just planted some maize and we're waiting
For the rain.
for the rain.
For God to do the things.
Exactly.
To work His magic.
Exactly. But farming is not boring at all.
What is the craziest thing, since you are a newbie
Yes.
in the space?
Fresh.
Yeah, fresh. What is like the craziest thing, the craziest farm experience you've had to this point? Like, like for an example, in my case, when I entered into this whole space, I remember this one day. I work with layers. Like, I rear layers. I get them
Okay.
day old.
Oh, and then you like.
I rear them until
them?
point
Yes.
of lay, 18 weeks.
Wow.
And then I move them to sister farms where the egg production really
Oh,
starts.
really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I am involved in only that space.
That
really.
space.
And which is very crucial. Like, point of lays in the market now, they're like ridiculously expensive.
I
Like,
know.
one chicken would be like $120.
$150.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm involved in that space on a commercial level, and it's really dope. I've learned a lot.
Yes.
But anyway, I remember this one morning, in the AMs, I think around like 1, 2 a.m. I don't know, was it like karma or what happened? Like, I had an incident at one house where the window didn't want to open.
Yes.
So if the window doesn't open, the alarm rings. So I
Yes.
have to attend to that problem.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I done that. Dealt with that situation, fixed. And it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So I went there, woke up one of the guys that live on the farm as
Yes.
well, one of the maintenance guys. So we fixed the problem. Dude, I kid you not. I went back to my place, got in bed, tried to, get my sleep back. 10 minutes into that process,
The alarm.
another alarm at a
Yeah.
different house. So I had to wake up. When I got to the house, the temperature is also a mess. So we dealt with that. And this is going to sound it's going to sound made up. I went back to bed. 30 minutes later, a different house, an alarm went off. Dude, like I never slept. I went back, I fixed that. I think the problem there was, I would assume it was a while back. I think it was probably temperature or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went to that house, I dealt with that. I went back to bed, and this is now around like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
And I just never slept. I just stayed up. Like, that was like ridiculous for me, that how could God, like, or how is it possible, like, in one night I have like 3 breakdowns and I just decided not to sleep. Like, that was really crazy. And I was still a newbie. I was like, oh, Joe, get 9 to 5. Tools down, like, it's done.
You don't expect hore.
In the AMs, you're busy running around up and down. So what is like the craziest thing you have like experienced so far, or the funniest, or the weirdest, or whatever?
So I can say I also had an alarm situation,
Yeah.
but that's not the craziest. Well, not crazy as in like weirdest,
Yeah.
or that put me in a state of panic. So I, like I mentioned that, farming needs money. So and
Yeah.
feed costs money. And remember, I told you I raise broilers, and broilers eat.
They
a lot.
chow.
They eat.
They
They
chow.
sleep. They don't. They barely sleep. They eat and drink. That's all they do. And I told myself I'd bought my feed for the week, and I'm fine. Sunday morning, the guys tell me, sister, we just finished the last bag of feed. So I'm thinking, and this is literally, I'd moved to the farm, I think, on the Thursday, and this is the Sunday.
Yeah.
And I on Thursday, I did what I needed to do, and I bought the feed and everything. And now, Sunday, there's no feed.
Yeah.
How? I'm thinking, no problem, I'll go and get feed. I drive out where I normally buy my feed, closed. Next place. Closed. Next place closed. Next place closed. I'm like, oh my
Guys.
God. I was in tears in the car. I was sitting in my truck and I'm like, what am I going to do? These chickens are going to die because there is no feed.
Or even if they don't die, they're going to
They're
lose
going to
much
lose
weight.
so much weight. But I wasn't even thinking that way. Like, wait, I'm thinking, now I've lost my investment. It's gone. Like, I'm freaking out, and I don't. And that's why I say the farming community is so warm and so helping, because at that point, farming community came through for a girl when I had nowhere to go. Literally, I went to probably 5, 6, 7 different places. Literally drove out to as good as 40, 50 kilometers away from my farm looking for feed. Place to place to place. Nothing.
Everything is closed.
Nothing. So I told myself, you know what, Noma, calm down. Sit in the car and think. Who do I call? And I remembered that when I went to actually buy the feed a few days ago, I met a guy, from the feed that I actually use.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Rian, I messaged him and I said, Rian, listen, I don't have feed.
I have a
need
dilemma
feed.
here.
I need
And I feed now.
And I need it. And from this is a guy that I met once. I met once, how are you doing? I'm a new farmer and I'm using your feed to feed my broilers. And he was like, listen, here's my number. Anytime you need advice, you need anything,
Give me a shout.
Give me a shout. And I never thought, I was like, okay, I took his number just like that. And I never thought I'd need it. And that day, and I thought, Rian, and I called him. And that's when he told me, okay, no problem. No need to panic. I can hear you're very panicked. And I was really...
And I can imagine.
I was panicking because now I was gone 2 hours. Now 2 hours, these chickens don't have food. And he told me, no, listen, there's a place, it's where and where, and this is where you need to go and find your feed. And literally for me, that was like, imagine if I didn't know the real.
You would be in a different situation.
That was a state of panic. And I mean, alarm systems, I didn't even know that. I thought an alarm, it only goes off if the person's a certain height. I've got stray dogs. That this is my first night on the farm. The alarm was set off 3 times, and I panicked.
And you thought like,
they are here
intruders.
Farm murders. They're here to murder me. And it was just stray dogs. So I mean, having an alarm system set off. Now I don't even. I'm just like, look out the window. Okay, there's nothing. Switch it off. Just arm it and arm it again. But that was the most craziest moment. I'm probably going to experience more. Like I said, I just started.
Definitely. But that is good enough.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's into livestock probably knows that water, feed and shelter. Like
important.
you don't. It's not optional. It's just not optional.
Yeah.
Going into safety.
Yes.
What is your take? Surely before you entered the sector, it's kind of like everywhere. Farm murders left and right. We losing a lot of good farmers,
Livestock
and I must say,
theft, farmers
livestock
getting killed.
theft. So, what is your take on that? Did it discourage you? Surely it didn't, because you are in the sector
Yes.
now. So clearly it didn't discourage you. But what were the factors that you like weighed out? Like, okay, now I understand that there's a lot of crime and there's a lot of violence and there's a lot of murders, there's a lot of theft and whatever not in the sector. So what was your take? What did you set out to like counter everything that is happening
So I mean, there's a few, and I've met a lot of farmers, and this has been my question because it's my worry. I'm a female. You know, I'm living in a place that's in the middle of nowhere, and I've got no one else but my partner and my workers. So now you're thinking, okay,
how close is your nearest neighbor?
About maybe 2.5 kilometers, 3 Ks.
So if something was to go down, he's like 2 Ks away.
Yeah, he has to drive.
Yeah, okay.
But the good thing is that when I got there, so that's my first thing when I got, when I got my farm was familiarize yourself with your neighbors.
Yeah.
So immediately, off the bat was get everybody's numbers.
Yeah.
But another thing that I looked at is how secure am I in the house?
Yeah.
So then you start looking at things like burglar bars. You start to look at alarm systems. You can look at a security company, and because the truth of the matter is that we live in a very wild world. So you can't really get rid of crime.
Yeah. And there is no
way of getting rid of crime, of saying, no, I'm going to move to this place and there's no crime. It's not going to happen.
Crime
how are
everywhere.
you going to live in the midst of all of it? Necessary decisions. When I talk about quality, I talk about I want to produce quality because I want to be known as the girl that produces quality.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the fact that my customers are going to taste quality or not. But it's more about you, like you said, as a business, as a brand.
Yeah.
NISC Farms produces quality broilers, and whether it's in the hood, word of mouth in the hood, mang wa ko zone, mang aba jwetse ko zone kai kai. Exactly. So don't underestimate the power of the informal market and say they're informal.
Ha hona tšhelete da. Ba sukudisa.
Let's be business.
Gold
Go informal
mine.
hona le batho by 4 million. Go 4 ways. By 500,000. The maths. We're in agriculture, we work on numbers. And you want to tap into a market that's a bigger
Where
market.
there's numbers.
Numbers. Because you produce numbers. Those numbers have to be consumed. So you have to think about that. So quality has to come from within as a producer. It's about what brand do you want, All these big brands. Standards. This is my standard. So that when someone says, hey, I tasted chicken from NISC and it doesn't taste nice, I'm like, that's not my chicken. That is, I can positively tell you that is not my chicken.
I don't even have to
go
further. Asia.
Oh no, that's not my pork. Oh no, those are not my goats. Because I know the manner in which I run my business, and and how much quality means to me as a business owner or as an entrepreneur. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're like, yeah, no quality, then your products will be quality.
And I guess this leads us to a broader conversation here. I guess just the importance of eating healthy.
Yes.
And just being healthy, Joe. Like food and water are like
life,
and you need to consume quality, and that is what you were saying about chicken editing 30
3
days.
months.
And some of them are imports.
No, get it dump. Did it dump you bo diaspora bo
But reject. They don't want them.
Di dula fridging ko skepeng 3 months. Happens
and it got to like 3 or a few weeks. Got deep freezing ya go shop before you finally
go and buy it. So I feel like and I kept on saying a lot to a lot of my friends that I would love to develop a network where my friends, my family get farm fresh produce. Farm fresh, because we all want to live long.
And
they
healthy.
spray things and they inject these things with things that make them last long. Because remember, kasi si Noma fella for 3 months.
Regardless whether it's in the
why
deep freeze
is
or what.
So you put this over when why is
means,
so let's say we disease what so you as yourself as as a consumer what am I actually eating? You have to ask yourself, am I eating this chicken, it's a guy
abroad
or can't and it is escaping nako etelle mara wena ha no mara hey ke wa sister ke ba go rekisetsa go on sheba snacks
thinking that we rekisang wena ke reject. What you're buying at the shop is
quality. It was.
But who's responsible for educating the consumer? Is it the farmer? Is it the government? And educating them about what we are chatting about now, the importance of food and where your food comes from and what went into your food, and whose responsibility is that to educate the consumer?
The government.
Okay.
And the farmer. But remember, me, I'm a farmer. I'm stuck in my ways of producing my quality produce and my broilers.
Your mission is to
my
produce
mission is
quality.
to produce.
Not
Not I'm going to educate the masses. Hey, my chickens haven't been sitting in the fridge for 3 months. Because yes, you can ask me that. I'll tell you. I'll even bring you to my farm and show you. But I feel like that's a fight that we can't fight as farmers.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fight that is bigger than ours. And
it will take a lot of time for you.
It will take a lot of time for people to understand, you know, the whole science of food production.
Yeah.
You know, from anything. When you pick up your burger, you must look at that burger and see how many people, farmers or people were involved. First of all, the bun was made by a baker. The lettuce is a crop producer. The tomato, the beef patty is, the so to understand the cheese is a dairy farmer. You know, you have to understand that there's so many people that go into that one burger that you eat, and now you have to think, okay, from this burger, where does this patty come from?
Is it really legit?
Is it really a patty? You know, we as people, and also another thing in terms of education, I feel like, you know, instead of saying giving it off to other people, I feel like we are in charge. Remember, I was talking about how I'm in charge of my own destiny. I'm in charge of my health. You are in charge of your health. So it's up to you to educate yourself. If you don't want to be educated, then stay eating
whatever you want.
But the moment you as yourself, you become conscious of, okay, I'm at a certain point in my life and I want to know what I'm consuming and eating. Then we'll ask the relevant questions and the answers are always there. That's the crazy thing.
And you'll be surprised how close the answers and how...
They're always there. They're there.
I say you don't need a professor. You don't need to consult a professor. You could just, hey Google.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get like tons of articles.
So in fact, to actually answer your question, no. I changed my mind. It is not the government's responsibility. It is not the farmer's responsibility. It's the consumer's responsibility.
You as an individual.
No, I'm not going to tell you what you should eat and where you should buy your food. You must make a decision and a choice, as a person, that the onion that I buy, it's okay. Has it been sprayed for long shelf life or not?
And what does that spray do
to me?
As a person? Does it yankawata? Does it add value to my life? Does it really give me the nutrition that I think I'm getting? Because a lot of these things, a lot of our animals and a lot of our fresh produce, we assume that we're getting the maximum nutrition out of them, and we're actually not getting the maximum nutrition just because of how they were produced. And a lot of consumers, and I agree with you 100%. You as a consumer is responsible for your own
100%.
health. As much as you're responsible for your own safety, you're responsible for your own health.
100%.
And information is always available on the internet. And I think that is dope.
Guys, you are responsible for yourself. You can't blame anybody else. I can't be like, oh my God, that's Cyril and his boys must come and tell me what I should and should not eat.
What has been your take on this whole, or what has been your finding? Is there really genuinely an imbalance in agriculture? Let's talk about male, female, gender. Because it's also a hot topic.
Yes, it is a very hot topic.
And I think it's ideal. You are in the sector, I'm in the sector. I have a clear understanding, you have a clear understanding. Like, Noma, we're on. What is your take on this whole situation, this whole debate? Let's put women on. And I'm not against anything. I'm just merely putting things on the
Yes.
table for us to discuss. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What is your take? The government's mission now is to get more
Lots of
women
in agriculture.
in agriculture. What has been your finding? Like, is there a need for that first and foremost? What is it doing to the male child? If it's doing anything, you know what I'm saying? What is like your general take? Like, what is the thing?
So first of all, I would love to live in a society where things are not so black and white, male and female. You know, his, hers, da da da. I hate that. But my overall.